Hello, audio fans and music listeners. My name is Gavin, your host here at the Audiophile Wannabe Show. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Our tagline, whereas beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so too is sound in the ear of the listener, is quite applicable to today's episode, as we're going to be talking about one of the primary issues or primary contributors, in my estimation, as to why there is such controversy and debate when it comes to hi-fi audio cables. And there's going to be different reasons, different topics that we can cover in this, but for the sake of time, I just wanted to discuss one of the primary contributors as to why this is such an issue. And that is, it seems to me that a lot of the tests that people tend to do may not be set up for success, but they're actually set up for failure. So in what way can a test like this be set up for failure? I mean, it seems like it's a pretty straightforward test. You just plug up cables, turn your system on, and check it out and see what it sounds like, right? Well, it's really not that easy. Even if we do some A to B comparisons, whether it's interconnect cables, power cables, speaker cables, it doesn't matter. Just doing A to B comparisons in this regard doesn't necessarily ensure a test set up for success. The way we set up a test for success in this regard, in my experience, is to ensure that we have set up the room as the primary component in our system, because until we've done that, which means we've established a robust soundstage and made the appropriate room treatments available to maximize that soundstage, what we're really doing is limiting the amount of benefit that we're going to get from any change point that we introduce into our system, including cables. And why is that? Because the soundstage itself, especially with the addition of the room treatments, is what opens up the experience of two-channel listening in the room to where there is some kind of magical experience that's three-dimensional and holographic, very similar to listening to home theater. It's different than a home theater, but it's there's a three-dimensional holographic potential, and once you've done that, then the capacity to hear the benefit that certain improvements can bring is significant. And quite frankly, until that takes place, especially when you introduce something like cables into your system, the perceived benefit is going to be very limited, maybe even no perceived benefit. So I can understand in that regard why some folks out there are just definitely bent on saying that cables are snake oil and don't provide any benefit. I'm not saying that that's the reason that that was their experience, but it is possible that maybe they just didn't listen to whatever they were listening to in the context of a room that was set up with a robust soundstage. And I would even go so far as to suggest that until you've made your room your primary component in your system with the soundstage and the room treatments, I would actually highly recommend not spending any money on cables for that reason, because you're not going to get the return on investment like you could otherwise. And those who have set up a soundstage but haven't yet begun to get into cables, please allow me to just throw out some hypothetical numbers just to provide a sense of expectation. Not that this is exact, but it'll give you an idea. So once we establish a soundstage, let's say that of the 100% potential improvement that's possible within your system, let's say it accounts for 50% of that 100% potential. And then let's say we do speaker dampening and vibration dampening throughout the system, isolation platforms, and let's say that accounts for another 20%. Well, we've got 30% left over, right? And improving the signal path is going to be that remaining 30%. So the reason I want to emphasize that is because even though that 30% signal path improvement is greater than the 20% improvement that vibration dampening may bring, hypothetically, because this is basically what I've experienced in my system, so I'm just going off of that. But that 30% benefit is a cumulative number. Speaker cables, interconnect cables, several different power cables, in my experience, plus the addition of, let's say, tube connectors. That's part of the signal path as well, the connectors inside the speakers. So there's several change points there that in my system have contributed to that 30% improvement, meaning that each individual cable may have brought with it, let's just say a 5% improvement. And that 5% improvement is significant and noticeable, but it's not initially as impactful as it is just hearing the difference that a soundstage could bring, which is that 50%. So once you've established a soundstage and you've experienced that and know how big of a difference that is, then once you begin to experience the benefit that cables can bring, you're going to get a little bit of benefit here, a little bit there, and a little bit over here, but it adds up to create a significant overall benefit that you're not going to get otherwise. So just wanted to throw that out there as maybe just fair expectation when it comes to what HiFi cables can do. It's just really kind of strange because actually setting up the soundstage is free. It doesn't cost you anything. You can do that at no charge. I'll just put that link in the video, and you can watch Ron's video. If you don't already have a soundstage, you can set that up, or if you already have one, you know it didn't cost anything. But to get that remaining little percentage is going to be costly, unless you want to go the do-it-yourself route, which is still going to cost something, but obviously it's still going to be more than what it costs to get a soundstage. So I hope that makes sense. And to those who are just in general skeptical about cables, I can certainly appreciate and understand skepticism on a subject like this. Skepticism itself is something that can be healthy at times, can certainly keep us from making impulsive moves in life. And to those who have had a bad experience with cables, can you honestly say that the system that you listen to these cables in had a robust soundstage? Just throwing that question out there, not saying that that's the only contributing factor, but can you say that that system did in fact have a robust soundstage? And if that is a question and you can't necessarily answer that, maybe it's possible, whether it's your system or otherwise, to check this video, link to the video in comments below, check it out and see if that makes an improvement, makes a difference for you. And the last little point on cables, what I learned, it's not that cables are adding clarity or adding this or adding that to the system, but what they're doing is they're actually reducing the overall noise floor, meaning just sound in the background. And that sound that's present that we may not notice that's there's some kind of a discernible or indiscernible level of noise that's in the background, actually can muddy and smear, cause distortion, and add a veil or a fog like presence over your sound, and you don't really know that it's there until it's gone. So that's the primary benefit that I've noticed with cables, is that by the introduction of high-end cables throughout my system, power cables, interconnect cables, and speaker cables, the noise floor has gone down to the extent it makes it possible to hear what's there present to already be heard, but wasn't, because a lot of the sound happened to be veiled, or it's like there was a fog. So, but that's it pretty much for the for that discussion. I hope this makes sense. If you're looking at trying cables, please do, but by all means, ensure that there's a robust soundstage. Get your room set up as the primary component before doing so. Otherwise, you'll just be wasting your money. And if you've had a bad experience in the past, I hope you don't mind looking at your system to see if you have a soundstage, and maybe incorporating a soundstage might change your listening situation. And then you can find that some of these other components, like cables, you can begin to get some more benefit out of. So hope this helps. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. If you like the content, hope you wouldn't mind liking the video and subscribing to the channel, as that will certainly help the channel to grow. But thank you so much, and hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Take care.